Hey guys, Wolfie here. This is a special presentation for the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia Global for the 22nd of January 2020. AKA, today is my birthday. This is gonna be a bit of a fun video I want to do because there has been talk a bit more so now than earlier in the month about the speculation behind the second global first character. Simply, none of us know who it is. There has been some theories here and there. There's been some requests made since Beatrix made her global debut, and a little bit of reminder for those who are day one players like myself, or those who've been around quite some time. We do know that Beatrix was the first global first character that was out a year ago. And the thing is, when it comes to global first characters, these do delay any and every global debut of other characters that already are on JP by a couple of weeks. So this is probably what's going to happen with the revelation of the second global first character. Again, we don't know who it is. There is been some requests going around. I'll get to that when we get to that particular point in the video. But for this particular video, I'm just going to go over like a small list of possible characters from each game in the series. Not only the main series, but some of the spin-offs. I'm going to include two spin-offs where there's been no representation of those of that yet in the game, and possibilities from there. But again, it's going to be a small list from each game, so that way I don't keep this video for too long. So once we get to the home screen, I will be back. So that way, because that way I can keep my thoughts together, all that good stuff. Okay, I am back. Like I said, this is going to be like, quick list from each game of the series, and I'm going to be including spin-offs. So, before we get into that, or by me, like I said, today is my birthday. I want to do something a little fun for the community. Like I said, it's going to be a short list of characters who have yet to show up in the game from each game, and I'm going to include a couple of spin-offs. So, when it comes to the two spin-offs that have yet to show up in the game, we're talking about Mystic Quest and Final Fantasy Adventure. With the latter, Final Fantasy Adventure has been renamed to correlate with the Secret of Mana series, so I'm going to include only Final Fantasy Adventure here, although I will be honest, it's the hero from that game, Sumo. We may never see him because, unfortunately, like I said, it has been Final Fantasy Adventure has been renamed to correlate with the Secret of Mana series, so we may not see that person ever in this game. But I do want to make a quick point out of that. So without any further delay, we're going to go over each game. I'm just going to name a character or two or three that could still show up in DFFOO, JP, and Global at some point, with one of these could possibly be the next global first character. Now, there are some entries where there is only maybe one or two or three remaining. And I do want to point out that some of the other characters from the main series, as well as one of the spin-offs, are kind of in the running due to the request. So, once I point out the entry and the character I'm going to bring up, I'll go into a little bit more detail with that way. So, we're going to go over the party so that way we can go do some stuff here and there. So, for Final Fantasy 1, the quote-unquote OG, we already have Warrior Light and Garland in the game. Now, some may speculate this could be the do-all and be-all for the original because, guess what? These are the only two in the entire Dissidia series. However, Final Fantasy Record Keeper has a few other characters for representation in that game, and Final Fantasy Brave Exvius also has one other. The notable one from both is going to be Sarah of Cornelia. She's the one who gives the group of heroes a particular instrument known as a lute that you don't use until towards the very end of the game. So Princess Sarah of Cornelia is one of the notable one that still has yet to show up in DFFOO, which I might personally will not be surprised if she is a potential for the global first character. Now, regarding Final Fantasy II, there is quite a few on this list. However, a few notables would be Guy, Layla, and Gordon. Now, there are 4 others from Final Fantasy II that could make it to the game, but we don't know yet. And the reason why there are 4 others is because in one of the lost chapters, Maria does mention a few people that she, Furion, and Guy have met that have died to help get the rebellion going and defeat Emperor once and for all. So for Final Fantasy III, we have Sarah and Aria, along with individuals from the remake, notably Lunith, Refia, Ark, and Ignis. Final Fantasy IV, we have Tella and Fusoya. That still remain. However, they could put in the Elemental Fiends, but that part remains to be seen. And regarding the After Years, there is quite a few from there. You got Seodor, Holy Dragoon / Paladin Dragoon King, Adult Palam, Adult Porum, and from the entire trilogy, yes, Final Fantasy IV is a trilogy. It is none other than Kid Rydia. So that's it on that. Final Fantasy V. Exdeath is slated to come to Global later on this year. However, we may see Dorgan coming in, and Dorgan is Bart's father. We may see 2 others that were part of the Warriors of the Dawn in the game, but with gacha games not having a very long shelf life, this is very unlikely. So once Exdeath comes to Global, we might be done with Final Fantasy V. Final Fantasy VI, we do have Gao, General Leo, and Strago that's to come to Global later on this year. After Strago, there are a few others, notably Mog, Umaro, and Gogo, the latter specializing in mimicry. Final Fantasy VII, you have Crisis Core and Final Fantasy VII proper. Crisis Core, you still have Genesis and Angel. However, with the main game itself, you have none other than Red 13, aka Nanaki. The thing is with Red 13, he is one of the 2 most requested characters from my personal observation. He is probably going to be one of the 2 in the running to become the next global first character. And this is because when it came down to Beatrix from last year, it was said that she was the most requested. And for this year, we kind of can tell that Red 13 and another character are the top 2. Final Fantasy VIII sees Edea, Heroes, and Ward remaining for the game. Now, we do know that they have kits of their own. The question is, again, will those characters be implemented in the game, knowing the whole thing about gacha games not having a very long shelf life? Final Fantasy IX, you have Kina and Amaranth. I think I butchered the guy's name. We do know that those 2 are remaining for sure. I'm sure there are others, but my brain isn't the world's best at remembering things. So now we're going to go into Final Fantasy X. Riku. She, alongside Red 13, are the two most requested characters for being global first. Now, I had a bit of a, heated discussion of sorts with an individual on Twitter over Riku. The person wants her as in the main story. However, that's probably going to be Act 3 if the DFFOO goes there. The reason why that is that we do know that Yuna is main story, as is Pain. Now, the thing here is that if Riku is global first, Final Fantasy X could very well be done for in that regard. Or Final Fantasy X-2 having other representatives coming along. Now, I know there's a trio from 10-2. I think I said 13-2, but I meant to say 10-2. You're talking 10-2. It has a trio. I forgot their names. So that's that on that. Now, I don't think they will be bringing along Lady Yunalesca or Braska into the game. And that's because, again, the whole thing with the shelf life of mobile gacha games not being long, it would make no sense. Now, for Final Fantasy XI, that's kind of up in the air right now. You have a bunch of characters that's already in the game from that entry. You also have Arisella that's showing up later on this year alongside Kamala Knott and Eldenot. So, that one is honestly up in the air. I don't know any other names from that entry, so that's that on that. Final Fantasy XII. The only character that still remains on either platform, and by that JP and Global, is Larsa. The reason why I say this is because Gabreth, and again, I am terrible with pronunciation, so you guys have to forgive me. Gabreth is coming to Global later on this year in the main story. So, 12 is almost done with representation as well. And Larsa, the reason why I bring him up, he is Vane's younger brother, by the way, is that he does have a kit of some sorts on Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and to some other extent on Final Fantasy Record Keeper, if my memory serves me right. Final Fantasy 13 Trilogy. There is quite a few here that have yet to show up. This is despite the fact that Caius is coming soon to Global. A few notables from the entire trilogy would be Sid Raines, Amber Tantalus / Daisley, even Yagurash if they felt like it. You also have Jill Nabat, the Adult Hope, and from Lightning Returns, the Savior Lightning. And Savior Lightning, if that is, she's even considered, will have a completely different kit to the Lightning that's already in the game. Final Fantasy XIV. There are 3 I can name off the top of my head from research. Those 3 being Minfilia, Urianger, and Xenos. The whole bit with Xenos, and this is kind of the talk from the NT roster. We're talking the thing is that the city of Final Fantasy NT, they want at least 2 characters from each game in the main series 1 through 15. So we're probably going to be seeing Xenos in the NT roster at some point. And that's a character who I feel could be a potential global first character because of that whole thing with the NT connection. Xenos, Minfilia, or even Urianger. And the latter 2 being part of the Science of the Seventh Dawn. Final Fantasy 15. You have Gladiolus in Ariania. Again, I'm bad with pronunciation, so bear with me. So those 2 are characters that could show up in DFFOO at some point. Now the spin-offs. Final Fantasy Type 0. There are 3 that are kind of remaining. Notably, units like Sice, Queen, and Kurosane. Now, the only reason why I'm mentioning those 3 is that there are other characters from Type 0 coming along to Global in the future, notably Trey and 9. Final Fantasy Tactics has a decent amount in their roster to consider as well, notably Meliodas, Oran, Delita, and Orlando. Orlando has been picking up some steam as of late as a potential global first character. The problem here is you kind of caught the hint, it is as of late. It hasn't been as consistent as Riku in Red 13. Delita has been brought up a few times here and there. And the whole thing with Delita, it's before Orlando. So Orlando and Delita are potential for global first. Delita a little bit more so due to the length of time he has been brought up, although not as much as Riku or Red 13. Now you get with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, that is another anyone's guess because I don't really know the names of the characters on that one. So you have to forgive me on that. Now with Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, this is another one where, like Final Fantasy Adventure, there has yet to be any representation. However, unlike Final Fantasy Adventure, Mystic Quest actually has a better shot. So there has been a few that has brought up Benjamin, the main character from Mystic Quest. So that is another potential for who the global first character could be, being Benjamin from Mystic Quest. It could be Kaylee, Phoebe, Tristam, or Ruben. So, in reality of all this, it is anybody's guess on who the global first character could be for the second anniversary. And with Josh mentioning that there are going to be more global first characters coming, I would not be surprised that if throughout the second anniversary, or the second year I should say, there is more than one global first character coming throughout 2020. I mean, the one, of course, that correlates with anniversary, and the second one that takes Beatrix's intended spot and sense of global debut. So, I mean, me personally, to conclude this video, I would like to see Minfilia or Benjamin as global first characters, but you know what? I'll be happy with whoever it is. I mean, with Orlando, again, he's been picking up steam as of late, but it has been inconsistent. So that's why I do not think it will be Orlando. And if I had to narrow down, like, the top 5 requests, in my personal opinion, and this is not going to be 1 through 5, but it's just going to be just in general, like, the 5 that I've seen the most requests for overall, like, for in a good amount of time. One of them would be Red 13, another would be Riku, the third would be Delita, the fourth, Benjamin, and the fifth, I mean, could be up in the air in sense of the entry. Some people may, I think one person even mentioned somebody from 14th. So it's a anyone's guess sort of thing. We can make all the speculations we want, but at the end of the day, it's like we should just be happy with whoever it winds up being. And that's where I'm going to end this video. With Wolvie here, signing off. I will catch you all on the flip side.